Today, we're going to talk about Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And you hear about this book all the time. You hear that it is a great book and that it changes people's lives and it's so amazing. And maybe you can already guess where I'm going to go with this. Let's jump right in. Let's jump in with a quote about how effective he says that this is going to be. And this is what he says. This can mean making significant improvements with your health, happiness, relationships, finances, spirituality, or any other areas that are at the top of your list. That's what he claims his Miracle Morning is going to do. And really, the more I read the book up to 40%, we're going to get to 40% in a second, the more I realized that this kept reminding me of the Fight Club, where Tyler Durden says, "You're the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the universe."
You're the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
That's what it sounded like. Like his whole Miracle Morning thing was going to be like the all-singing, all-ever answer for everything in your life, and it was just going to be perfect. The book starts off with him talking about his car accident that he had. So he had a car accident. He had mental issues, a whole bunch of stuff, and he let it hold him back. And he let himself believe that he just wasn't going to be as successful as he could have been. And then he started stumbling through that and working through that and still got successful. And he worked for Cutco as a salesperson and went on to like really good heights there. And then he went out on his own and he started his own business, which suffered in the crash of 2008. And that's when he really started discovering the Miracle Morning. Here's another quote from him about learning from his car accident. It says, "If there is one thing that I've learned from my car accident, it's that there is no point in dwelling on or feeling bad about the aspects of our lives that we can't change." So I didn't. That was the big thing I learned out of the car accident. But the Miracle Morning didn't really come through until that 2008 crash, where he realized that he was just kind of spiraling down and continuing to spiral down, and he needed to do something different about this. What came out of this, the crash, was his Savers, SAVERS, with the dots in the middle, because it really stands for something. And let me see if I can get it off the top of my head. It's Silence Affirmations. SAV, visualizing. E, I forget. Exercise. R is reading. And S is scribing, because he needed an S. Really, it's journaling. So scribing, sure, we'll go with scribing. Now, the big problem with the book, though, is that he doesn't get to the Savers, which is the meat of the book, till 40% in. I'd give you a chapter, but my Kindle copy was crap and didn't have chapter headings. It had like a big capital letter, and I said, well, this is probably a chapter, but that's all it had for me. I have no idea where the chapters start. But 40% in is where he really starts talking about Savers, and that ends at 70%. The first 40% of the book is mostly a rah, this is awesome. Like, I think it was 20%, and it was like still getting quotes about, Pat Flynn says this is amazing, and like just so much like telling you how amazing this is, and it's going to like blow your mind, and like, okay, great. There was one maybe interesting thing about sleep in there. And he contends that whether you get 4 or 8 hours sleep, it doesn't really matter. All you need to do is think that you are getting enough sleep and you're good to go. Now, there is some research that says this, that if you feel you had a good night's sleep, whether or not you did, you actually do perform better. But there's also tons of research that says if you don't get enough sleep, you pay for it. You don't like get extra hours, you just continually pay for it. So I don't know how I feel on that. It seemed more of the hippy dippy stuff, like, oh, if you just feel you've got enough sleep, you're good to go. Don't worry about it, which is not really true. Like, it's just not true. You need sleep. If you go 4 hours sleep all the time, you are highly unlikely to be in like the 0.1% that really only needs 4 hours of sleep every night. You need somewhere between 7 and 8 hours of sleep most nights if you're an adult. He also comes up with this thing called WUML, WUML, which is wake up morning level. And he has 5 tips for increasing it, and they are set the intention to be excited before you go to bed. So I'm going to wake up and I feel good. That's his thought stuff. The other ones are really good. Move the alarm so you can't hit snooze. Brush your teeth right away. It just gives you, it's kind of a mindless thing, kind of freshens you up and gives you something to do to wake up. Drink a glass of water because you're dehydrated, also really good. And put on your workout clothes as soon as you get up, because remember, E is exercise. Now, Savers. Silence. This is like the meat of the stuff. This should be 10 minutes per one. And silence is the big one. So it's the big one. Silence is the one he starts with. He actually says later on that you can rearrange this into whatever order you want, but silence. Silence is all about meditation, prayer, just being silent and like getting into the day calm. So I do this. In part, I read a little bit in the morning, where I sit silent as the coffee gets made. That's part of my silence in the morning. I do a lot of these things, just not Miracle Morning because. Affirmations. Actually reading another book, just finished it, called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, which is better on affirmations and maybe even to visualizations a bit, although it's also a little fruity, which I'll get to this book eventually. But affirmations is about positive self-talk and really helping you be the person you want to be and talk about it, right? Talk about I am, what's the Jerry Smalley, I think it's on SNL, where he's like, I am the best I'm going to ever be.
Daily Affirmation with Stuart Smalley.
I'm going to do a terrific show today, and I'm going to help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
It's kind of like that, but he actually makes fun of that as well. So it's affirming that you are, you're good, you are worthwhile, that you are successful and you can be successful. Next is visualizations. This is, again, visualizing where you want to be. It could even be like a mood board, a visualization board, where you're like, have pictures of the successful people that you want to follow, that you want to be like, and showing that and looking at that every day, getting used to it, seeing that this is where I want to be and working to emulate that. Exercise. 10 minutes of exercise. Doesn't matter if you're going to go for a run later in the day. Do 10 minutes of jumping jacks, 10 minutes of burpees, 10 minutes of something to get your heart going, just because it's energizing. Reading. 10 minutes of reading, or 10 pages of reading. Every day, I think he says that you'll read, if you read 10 pages a day, and he gives you the average book length for self-help, you'll finish 12 books in a year. Great. Read. I actually read for like an hour, hour and a half every morning because I love to read. I read for, I think, about 25 minutes fiction, and then I read for an hour nonfiction this morning. Scribing. This is the S he needed. Really, it's journaling or morning pages. Morning pages are pretty popular. It's writing down, kind of reflecting on yesterday and like casting into today and writing and just journaling and emptying your head, getting it out of there. So that's 70% of the book. That's it. 40 to 70% is the savers. The rest of it, and it ends pretty much in rah, rah, rah. And it begins pretty much with rah, 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 I'm awesome. He talks about his, Miracle Morning Superfood Smoothie. Like, I was really starting to expect to read about the Miracle Morning Superfood Underpants. Because that's just what I was expecting. Superfood underpants, or super underpants that'll like help you meditate better. I don't know what they'll do. It certainly felt really marketing wise. Now my question is, do you read the book? Should you read Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod? Maybe, but I really only think you should read from 40% to 70%. Again, I don't have chapters because the Kindle version sucked, but you should look at that 40 to 70% and just read the savers. Really, that's it. If you're looking for a good morning routine, the savers routine, good one to start with, then tweak it to your own. If you want to get the maximum out of the book, just read that. Don't read the rest of it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, you can make sure you don't miss any by subscribing below. Make sure you hit that little bell icon so you get notifications if you like notifications. Although, I gotta be honest, I hate them. If you'd like to support the channel, like to make sure that the videos keep coming, that the content keeps coming, you can support me on patreon.com/Curtis McHale. Have an awesome day.